Hello everyone, I am Peppino back for my second Kerbal Space Program tutorial, and now we are going to fly our basic rocket that we built last time. One thing I forgot to mention last video that I probably should have is these right here. Basically what this is the first time I hit space, these engines, which are highlighted green when I go over this, if you can see there, we'll zoom in, these engines and these will activate. So these will release, these engines will fire. That's what we want. And then the next time I hit it, these things that are highlighted green right here, these will detach the second time I hit space. The third time I hit space, this engine will fire. The fourth time I hit space, this will decouple and everything but the capsule and the SAS will be there. Then the fifth time I hit space, the parachutes will deploy. So that's the order we want. One thing I do like to do is you can drag and move these around. You can put this so that this engine will fire at the exact same time these decouple, and I like doing that. I think it's more convenient a lot of the time, but that's up to you guys. So now we're ready to fly. We've got Jebediah Kerman here as our pilot. He is my favorite Kerbal. And so now what we're going to do is I always start by turning on my SAS, and you do that with the T button. Then you use Shift to raise your throttle right here, Control to lower it. So we're going to want to Shift to go all the way up, and then we'll zoom back out. Then we're ready, and we will hit space and launch in 3, 2, 1. There we go. There is our rocket, and it is launching. You can hit M to switch to the map. You're going to want to click that and bring it up. And you can see a bunch of different things here. Your altitude is right there. Your speed is right there. This is the direction you're going. The green circle is the direction you're going. This little nav ball thing here is the direction that you are facing. This yellowish, orangish dot. That's the direction you're facing. So you could be going straight up, but turned on your side, which I'll show you here. If we turn this way, we're facing this way, but we're still going straight up. And if we burn in this direction, it will slowly bring the green over to that way. So now you can do that, move around, all of that stuff. You're going to have to turn off your SAS, and you can move around with W, A, S, and D. And again, toggling SAS is just the T button. And there's Jebediah, he's excited. What you're going to want to do is use the map and look at your trajectory, and your apoapsis is the highest point that you're going to reach. And if we just stopped burning right now, we would just follow this trajectory and crash down into the ocean. But we don't want to do that, obviously, so we're going to keep burning. And here's your atmospheric drag. That's how high in the atmosphere you are. And then here's your G-forces right there, which don't matter a ton yet, because I don't think Kerbals can die from G-force strain yet, but that will be implemented in the future. And so here we go. Now you can see our trajectory is growing a lot as we burn more. So this should be plenty to get us actually up into space, and once we get above 70,000, yep, we're outside of the atmosphere, so we can get up into space, and we're about ready to ditch our first stage. So here we go. What's going to happen is it runs out of fuel, then I hit space. That will detach. All the struts detach that should detach, which is really nice, so you don't have to worry about struts getting in your way. And now we continue burning, and we're going up more into space. What I'm going to do is throttle down, and I'm going to wait until we get near our apoapsis, which is up there, and I'm going to try get an orbit. It's going to be more fuel efficient to burn at my apoapsis, and what we're going to want to do is turn our craft to face like this, we're going to turn to face the side because I just know that that's the direction we're going to be going when we reach our apoapsis, because you can see we're slowly turning this way with the direction we're going as we travel along our trajectory. And so then once we get to the apoapsis, you can do a burn. We can speed up time with the period and commas, speeds it up or down, or you could click the arrows up in the top here, see we're time warping five times, and you can go really fast. So you got to be careful with that though, so you don't hit the wrong time warp and go way too fast. But now, there's the moon right there. Basically, what we're going to want to do is just wait, and you can see we have our apoapsis in 1.5 minutes, so we can speed up time a bit till we get down closer to that time. And before we get to our apoapsis, I'm going to want to start my burn, and that should, we'll throttle back up, that should extend our trajectory very quickly because we're burning near the apoapsis. I believe the correct term is prograde. We're burning prograde. That's the direction you're facing. Retrograde is the opposite direction. If I'm wrong, yell at me in the comments and tell me I'm an idiot, because I probably am if I'm getting that wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the correct terminology. But I'm not a rocket surgeon, so I don't actually know. But I do my best. I'm not a rocket surgeon, I just play one on YouTube. And like I said, I said in my last tutorial, this is just my, basically my advice that I've taught myself, and this is very beginner advice just for people who are trying the game that are having trouble getting up into space or whatever. This is just to help you. If you know a lot about this game, you can probably do better than I'm doing in these basic tutorials. But alright, there we have our periapsis, and you can see our apoapsis is extending too now because we're no longer near it. So if we wanted to extend our periapsis, the most efficient way to do that, which that's what we want to do right now, would be to get to the apoapsis and burn in prograde again. If we wanted to decrease our periapsis, we would get to the apoapsis and burn in retrograde. And so now what we're going to do is just speed up time right there till we get down to, or up to I should say, our apoapsis, and then we will line up to burn in prograde. Retrograde, by the way, you can see there's a green circle here with an X through it. That's the opposite way. We don't want to go that way. Now what we're going to do is burn again, and this will get us a nice orbit. If you want to circularize your orbit, basically it's just going to be continuously extending your periapsis, bringing down your apoapsis, things like that. But you can see I've throttled up just a little bit, and it's extending the periapsis very quickly. This one's around 287, but it's also going up a little bit. But anyway, if you're not being real picky, it's easy to get a nice orbit like that. If you want to get them very close to circular, that's a little more difficult, but still not too bad. So there we go. Now we have an orbit, and if we want to, we can just warp time really fast and whiz around Kerbal. And Jebediah is just loving this. He's having fun. We're tumbling around. And there we go. So that is how you get up into orbit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down from orbit. So we have a little bit of fuel left, not a ton. So we're going to want to be efficient with this, as you would want to do anyway, probably. occasionally you're just like, I have so much fuel left that I don't care, and you can just burn wherever. But what we're going to do is we're going to get up to the apoapsis, because that's going to be the most efficient way to do this. Now, when you want to deorbit something, you want to bring the periapsis down to 0, basically. So, what we're going to do is get near the apoapsis, because that's the easiest way to affect the periapsis, the most fuel-efficient way. And then we'll burn in retrograde, which will slow us down, which will make us fall towards the planet. So now when I throttle up, our periapsis goes down very quickly, and we can get it down to 0 there. And now you see our trajectory is lined up to land right there. When we get into the atmosphere, that's going to slow us down, so we won't actually make it there. We'll end up in this ocean probably somewhere, but we can figure that out. So we'll speed up time a little bit now, and then once we get around over to near where we need to be, we can switch to here and just watch our altitude. Once it gets to into the atmosphere, we'll automatically switch to time warp by 1. So we're now in the atmosphere, and we can zoom in here and see. Actually, we're right near the space station as well, so we could try land there, but that's a little complicated to actually get it to land there with the way we're landing. But we'll try get it to be close to there. So I'm going to burn in retrograde here for a little bit, which you can see will bring our trajectory down. Alright, that should be plenty. And then what we're going to do is I will hit space again, which will decouple that, like that. Now it's just our capsule floating there. And if I press space, that will activate the parachutes. Now they haven't deployed yet, and the reason for that is that we aren't low enough in the atmosphere. There's not enough drag to open them. But once we get a little lower, which you'll see happen here, they should open pretty soon, and then slow Jebediah Kerman down and bring him in for a safe landing. Is that the space station right there? Yep, right there. We are going actually very good, very close to our target of landing at the space station. We may overshoot it by just a bit. Not sure. We'll see. Parachutes deploy soon, but yeah, we're gonna probably overshoot the space station and land in the water, but that's okay. There's our parachutes deploying, which will slow us down very quickly. We're just gonna overshoot it just a bit. Our parachutes didn't deploy quite quick enough, and so they'll just have to send a boat to get us, but that's fine. And so then you see we're slowing down very rapidly here. Our altitude is dropping, but not too badly. And we're flying over to these little islands, sort of, but we're actually going pretty far. Almost 25 kilometers past the launch site, so we missed it by a decent amount. Although, if you're measuring in if you're 25 kilometers away, and a lot of times in this game, that's pretty darn close. There are very large distances in space, obviously, but anyway, now you can see we are at 7,000 meters, and we're slowing down at about 150 meters per second there. And I'll turn off my SAS once the parachutes are going, just let the capsule fall. But we're going basically straight down right now, and the parachutes have not fully deployed yet. They'll fully deploy when you get lower. If you look and read the description of the parachutes, they'll have full deployment altitude on them. But that will slow you way, way down then when that happens. You have to be careful you're not going too fast because the parachutes can get ripped off. And also, I don't recommend warping time when you're coming in for landings like this, because right here, when you're moving over terrain, you would also warp physics, which occasionally can lead to little glitches that could cause your craft to fall apart, which could cause your guys to die. Oh, there we go, the parachute's fully deployed, and you see now we're going 4.5 meters per second. And now you can probably warp time a little bit, and you can only go up to ×4, but that's fine. And so you just want to probably stop that before they actually splash down. Or at least I like to do that. So you can see, and this is the meters above sea level, by the way. This is not the meters above the land. So when you're landing in the ocean, this is accurate, but you can land on land and land at over 1,000 meters if you're up on a mountain. So don't use the altitude as the absolute correct altitude. That's your altitude above sea level, just as a clarification. But there we go, we have splashdown, so a successful flight. And so there we go, that is how you fly a basic rocket into a basic orbit and then come down landing safely. So hopefully if you're having troubles getting started, this will help you. You can do some experimenting and whatnot with the designs yourself to try and make them better and do cool things like that. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.